How are we there, guys? And welcome to another episode of the Smashing Crossbar Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, once again, joined by Benno. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you doing? I'm glad to be back at work, finally, after 6.5 weeks.
Yes, absolutely. The drought's broken. I'm sure the missus would be happy to see you back at work.
She is, mate. She is.
Don't
mind what's going on screen at the minute.
No, we're just syncing our guest in, obviously. What was I going to say to you? Obviously, if you can let us know if you can hear Ben and myself okay. Make sure there's no dramas with the voice, etc. Other than that, we are lucky enough to be joined by the captain of the Newcastle Jets, Nigel Boogaard. Obviously to talk a little bit about football. Obviously the season just gone, and hopefully a restart at some point. Hopefully some news on a restart for next season. Nigel, how are you, mate?
Good, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for jumping on, mate. I'm sure it's been chaotic over the last 12 months, we'll say that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, it's good to finally sit down and have a bit of a chat. Obviously, the Jets fans have come in with a few questions. We'll get through them, obviously, again, no particular order. Again, if you guys have got anything in the chat that you want to throw to Nigel as well, more the merrier. But we may as well start off with the main one. Off contract, currently. It's safe to say, obviously, the Jets fans definitely don't want to see you go anywhere. Newcastle boy. We want to keep you here, and hopefully you want to stay here. How's everything going with that?
Yeah, obviously it is a little bit complex. Obviously, as you mentioned, I'm a Newy boy, and I love this town and want to continue playing for this club. But unfortunately, if it was as easy as that, I think everything would have been sorted already. But obviously, with things going on with COVID and the way that it's thrown everything into disarray, it also has thrown up the challenge to also get myself on the books at the club. So obviously, I want to stay. The club want me around, and the formalities are, and still a big issue is obviously the sale of the club and the new ownership that potentially could happen this year. And there's obviously a few things to still fall into place, but I think the good thing to know is that I want to stick around. The club want me around, and hopefully all the formalities will fall into place in due course.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I said, I think it's safe to say, obviously, everyone in here, obviously watching, and who isn't watching, obviously, who supports the Jets, that definitely wants to see you around. You've still got a good couple of years left in you, we think. Hopefully we can get that sorted as soon as possible. First question we've got here is, so you've been on both sides of the F3 derby, having spent 5 seasons at the Central Coast Mariners and hopefully 6 seasons at the Newcastle Jets. How do you feel the rivalry has sort of developed over the time?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think obviously with the success of the teams back earlier in the A League, there was probably arguably a bit more at stake when it came to those individual matches, and obviously a lot of those derbies came down to semi-finals and obviously the famous grand final as well, which back then I was on the wrong side of that championship. But at the end of the day, if anyone was going to take it off me, I was happy it was Newcastle and not another side. But I think back then, I think there was probably a little bit more spite, a little bit more rivalry, and I think the fact that everyone was still relatively new to the league, and there was a vibe around both towns, and I think there was probably a real rivalry, a genuine rivalry back then. And I think what helped that was also the way football was in the early days of the A League. And by that, I mean the physicality and the way you could go about, I suppose, business in a game. And I think you could see that by the first 10 or 20 seconds of the grand final and the way that kicked off. I think that kind of takes me back to that kind of player-driven rivalry and that passion and that willingness to give it all to win. And I think it definitely, I think everyone could attest it's dwindled, that rivalry over the years. I think in current years, I think with a lot more homegrown players, especially from our end, and a few more coming back to the Central Coast, I think that passion and understanding what it means to play for your town and represent them against your neighbour, I think that's really added to it. I think it unfortunately, due to the way the game's played these days, I don't think we'll ever get back to that real intense, spiteful kind of rivalry. But I think it's now based on, I suppose, outwitting each other in terms of tactically and the way we go about games. And I suppose it's probably, back in the day, you probably wanted to win, but also kick them off the park. But these days, I think the best way to do that is to really punish a side and put multiple goals past them. And that's probably, I suppose, the relative way to do it these days. But I think we can get it back there. It may look a little bit different. And I think the big thing as well is obviously that fan support behind it that drives it as well. So it's us on the field, understanding our role to play in that, but also I think that passionate rivalry off the field and the singing back and forth and those type of things that definitely took place back in the day. And hopefully that's in the not too distant future that we can really look at that as a real, I suppose, spiteful contest.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, one of the questions that's been brought in as well, obviously, at your time at the Coast, we can't go past without talking about the 08 Grand Final. We've spoken to so many Jets players about it and everything else, but not really too many guys are on the other coin. How was it for you, the match itself? Was it tight as what we seen it? You know what I mean? It was just so back and forth, and obviously an unlucky slip cost you guys obviously the victory.
Yeah, I think depending on which side of the fence you sit on, I think you guys have probably described it as a tight contest, and I believe on the field it felt that way. I think there wasn't much in it. I think it was a very cagey match. You talk to some of the Jets boys that played back then, they felt like they dominated that game. As to, we probably would have said that if we won, but I think it was a quite cagey and intense affair. And obviously, as you mentioned, it only took one slip to kind of sway things and ultimately decide the game. So I think that's justification of how it was played out. Obviously, in my circumstance, obviously down the coast, and it was a great build-up, and I was still living in Newcastle at the time, so I knew how much the town was getting behind the club up here, and similar down on the Central Coast. Obviously, they, football-wise, were relatively new to it, and there was a big buzz about the Central Coast to get on board and really drive that. So at the end of the day, it was disappointing. I think the biggest thing that hurt me after that game, we went straight into an Ollie Roos camp, and if you can remember, a contentious handball from one James Holland. So still seething at the bit. We obviously met up in camp the day or two after for Dutchy to greet a couple of us boys saying it was handball. So it was like he had a big salt shaker and just straight into the wound there. But listen, I suppose that's the way it is. It's professional sport, and if you can laugh about it at the end of the day, it's always nice. But yeah, it definitely hurt at the time.
Absolutely. Ben, you got the next one?
I do, mate. We're moving across now into the ACL side of things. You've had the chance to play in many ACL games. In your opinion, what's the difference in standard between the A League and the Asian Champions League?
Budgets. It comes down to it, the quality of player that these giants, especially when you talk about the more recent Chinese clubs, the Japanese, obviously, with their technical side of the game, and they're so organised and disciplined, and then everything in between. But it's a great experience for A League teams and players alike to be able to go into that and test yourself against arguably a higher caliber of player and team, and it's enjoyable. You've seen Adelaide do quite well, Western Sydney United. Western Sydney obviously go all the way, but it's exciting for players that play in a competition like ours to really come up against sides where the only thing you know about them is the scouting that your staff members have done prior to it, and it kind of puts you on edge during the game, especially as a centre back. You're obviously coming up against strikers and sometimes very well renowned and well paid strikers from maybe Europe that you know quite well, but you're all of a sudden going into that as an unknown, and you've got to be on your toes and at your game 100%, or you get found out. And yeah, it's exciting. It's something that's great for our code to be able to put Australian football up there on the Asian market as a platform for what we're doing here, but also arguably a stepping stone for some of those younger players that feel that's a right pathway to go through a career or a Japan to apply their trade. So some great experiences, some long and lengthy trips to get from Australia via 15 flights to arrive at your destination at 3 a.m. and train and play the next day. So it's an experience, but it's something that I think if you asked any player, they jump at the chance to be involved with that. And obviously our Champions League campaign a few seasons back now didn't quite pan out the way we wanted it to, but I think we gave ourselves a good showing for where we're at. And at the end of the day, sometimes at professional sport, you've got to be able to put your hands up and say you're beaten by a better side. But I don't think we dishonoured ourselves in the way we approached that game and ultimately played that game. So disappointing to not be able to represent the club at that level, but ultimately I think we gave it a good crack.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question we've got is in regards to obviously the grand final against Melbourne Victory the other season. There's definitely...
Why do we always have to bring this up?
Oh, mate, seriously. I'm not going to go in there and say that we were robbed or anything like that.
I'm not telling my story again for the ninth time on this podcast.
No, absolutely not. Look, I just pretty much want to get your thoughts just on the season. Like, again, the football where we finished the season before, and then how well the season went was just unbelievable. Did you feel you were a chance of getting where you did? Obviously from the get-go pre-season.
Yeah, it was funny. That season there was a belief within the squad, and I think obviously coming off pre-season was a good pre-season for us, and we got a lot of games under our belt against good opposition, and I think we realised as a group what we had within the group and the quality that we had, that there was something special. And it was amazing as the season just kind of flowed into result after result, and there was games where we definitely weren't the better side, but we were able to get a result, and I think that belief within the squad just grew and grew. And there were games where we were behind that genuinely, and hand on heart, I could say that we weren't concerned. We knew we would get a result, and that was just some people might call it arrogance or whatever, but you just have this confidence, and players will tell you that when they're in those type of sides, you're really appreciating, you ride it out. Because I was in a similar situation in Adelaide, and especially on a cup run down there, but you just get this sense of momentum, and it is a thing. Winning becomes a habit, as cliche and as that sounds, it just does. And all of a sudden, the confidence to go out and play freely and play a certain brand of football just becomes natural. So it's we kind of felt that momentum of the town as well. Obviously, as things were drawing towards the back end of that season, we had a little I suppose hiccup in terms of results there for a period, and I think it was interesting because people kind of wrote us off at that stage and said, they've done so well, but they're going to fall over. And I think true to Newcastle mentality, I think the boys took that as a kick in the guts and went, well, we've gotten this far, we're going to prove you wrong. And rightly or wrongly, we did. And yeah, the grand final, listen, you can't ask for more than a Newcastle boy, and there's a few in our team to be able to play a home grand final in our stadium, a place where as a junior I used to go and watch the old Newcastle United at the fence and try and get signatures myself. So to be able to walk out in front of a packed crowd, leading out your hometown, and listen, the fairy tale would have been amazing had we have won it. But I think considering where we were the year before, to do what we did was quite an achievement in itself. And yeah, something that I look back on as one of the biggest highlights of my career, and not only for that, but just on a personal level from being here and being part of that.
Yeah, hopefully next season when you're with us, we can do it again. But there's one question, Ben, before obviously you get into the next one. I've wanted to ask. I've spoken to Laurie many times, and obviously he's given me really good answers in regards to the whole Ernie Merrick scenario. I'd love to get your thought on, or just get an answer, I suppose, of he went from that season doing so well, and then the next season, obviously, it was just all downhill for him.
The wheels fell off.
And there was just so much talk. Laurie was saying that he was offered, coaching staff and he didn't want coaching staff. He was happy with what he had, la-di-da, transfers. What do you feel was the biggest shift in, obviously, the next season with him at the club?
I think a lot of things. I think the playing squad changed a fair bit, and you got a fair few injuries to key players at a bad time. And as much as anyone will test in football, if a few of your senior players or regulars or whatever you want to call them are out of your squad, it does hurt. And I think you can look at the squads like Sydney's and the successful teams that have gone past. They have the same squad on the park every week, and their key players are on the park every week. And there's a reason why those teams are successful, is because they're able to keep that, I suppose, unity and understanding and where they're going week in, week out. And I think that hurt us. And yeah, I suppose people will call it the wheels falling off. But in terms of the group was behind him. We understood what he wanted and how he wanted to play. And I said it previously in countless interviews that we also, as a playing group, underperformed in terms of what he wanted out of us. And there's no denying that. I think the results prove that, and individual performances also prove that. So at the end of the day, it's professional sports. It's a results-driven business, and it's the way it panned out was unfortunate for Ernie, because not only did I enjoy the way he coached, but he's also a good guy, and I think that's first and foremost. And like I said, in professional sport, it's always easier to get rid of one coach than it is 20 players, and I think that's the adage all around the world. But as a playing group, we definitely stood up and put our hand up and said we underperform. But at the end of the day, that doesn't ease anyone's mind, and it wasn't through lack of effort or trying or not doing what was asked. I think we just, as a group, were off the mark, and that's it. Obviously, we moved on from there, and we're able to turn things around. And I suppose obviously he's got a lot of confidence in where the squad's sitting at the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I say, good. You just got to look at his track record of how good of a coach he is, and again, turning around a team from the bottom to the grand final runners up. It speaks for itself as far as I'm concerned. I
was about to say, a couple of months after he left, didn't you bump into him down here in Melbourne?
Yeah, that was bizarre. That was really, really bizarre. He spotted me out with a Jets shirt on, which was quite bizarre. And
where we live, there's only two people where we live that wear Jet shirts. I'm one, and Josh is the other.
Yeah, it was sort of bizarre. But again, as Nigel said, nice bloke. You come up to me. How are you? Hope everything's well. And again, good bloke. And again, hopefully we see him back in the A League somewhere. Soon. Ben, you got the next one?
I do. I am going to quickly go off to the side here and grab one from chat, because it's been mentioned 2 or 3 times now, and that's thoughts on the Riley McGree goal against Melbourne City. Do you think he meant it, or was it a knee-jerk reaction?
Oh, listen, he'll claim that he meant it every day of the week. He'll claim that he did it at training regularly. But listen, as a footballer, when instinctively you just throw your foot at something because you need to make contact, or you want to project it into your path. Listen, I'll say I think he was just trying to flick it onto himself to be able to possibly have a chance at goal. Was he a little bit heavy-footed and it happened to lob a goalkeeper off his line? So be it. It's a talking point. It was a great highlight for not only him but obviously our team as well. But I reckon if we throw him another 100, 200, 300 balls, he's probably getting one if he's lucky. So freak of nature, but obviously the beautiful part about this game is that things like that can pop up and get everyone excited and everyone talking about the positives that are involved around our sport and not the negatives. So it was obviously a talking point. We obviously had to burst his bubble a few times to bring him back down to earth, but no, he's a good kid, and he deserves all the accolades for what he's doing so far of his career.
He should have won the Puskas.
He should have won.
Could have won the Puskas.
How many bubbles have you blown of Topper?
It's a bit hard because I obviously I rely on him a little bit at the back there, so I can't hang him out to dry too much. But to be honest with you, Topper shows that regularly at training. Not probably to that level. He's pulled off a couple of half volleys and different things, and it is a running joke that if he's ever in a bit of space and a decent distance out, you may hear a few players even match day yelling out, "Go on, do it! Give the fans what they want." So it's enjoyable, but he's definitely got in his locker, and it wasn't as much as it was enjoyable, and it definitely wasn't a shock to the group that he was capable of doing it. Put it that way.
Absolutely, Benno, you got the next one.
We're gonna have to burst more of those bubbles, considering he's now won goal of the year for it too.
Well, that's it. he may have mentioned.
Gonna walk into training with his trophy now, and
no, you can see him. You can see him frigging pulling down his ACL medal. Just put that one aside.
Yeah, put it next to it. I told him his centre back union fees are a scrub for the rest of life. If you're a centre back winning goal of the year, then you're free to do what you want. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. By that.
Benno, you got the next one there, mate.
All right. When you were injured a couple of times in this season, you were included on the team sheet and sat on the bench. Was there any reason behind it, or were we just short on numbers?
Yeah, so I've been asked this a few times. I was nowhere near fit enough to play, but Ernie felt that my presence around the squad was valuable to him and the players. So I travelled, and essentially because of my position as a player, I don't have any of my coaching credentials to the level to sit on the bench. But we're obviously short at that stage with coaches. We had, there was Ernie, Chris Bowling, the goalkeeper coach, and at that stage, Clayton Zane had moved on, and Lee had also headed back to China to complete his pro license. So he thought it would be a good opportunity for me to help out in that space. And a few people said what happened, but I was nowhere near fit enough to take the field on those occasions. But it also gave me a little bit of insight as to what it's like to sit down that end of the bench. And I tell you what, it's stressful sitting there knowing that you can't impact anything that goes on in the field apart from making substitutions at crucial times. But I had some good times on the bench. Obviously, Bolo and myself are very hot-blooded, so there was a few times that he'd go for the fourth official, and I'd be going after the linesman, and Ernie would be sitting there casually saying, "Can you two just calm down because it's not that bad?" But obviously, it was nice insight to see what it is to be on that side of the fence. But it's I still like to have some sort of impact where you can actually make some sort of change on the field. Put it that way.
No, that's good. That's prime, is what I would say. Yeah, I thought about dabbling in coaching courses and myself recently, and don't have the skills for that. No, I'll stick to indoor, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You got the next one there, mate?
Yep. Where am I? I've lost my spot. Okay. If you could change 3 things about the A League, what would they be?
First one would be to play in winter. I think the restart after the COVID break is obviously, not COVID break, sorry, that's probably a poor way of putting it, but since the restart, obviously you've seen an increase in the quality of football and just the intensity levels that players are able to see our matches due to the fact that it's obviously a lot cooler. And the other contributing factor to that, I think, which people don't completely understand, is obviously due to it being a bit cooler, the ball moves a bit easier on most of the pitches around the country as well. It's not dry, it's not sticky, and that obviously increases the tempo that you're able to move the ball and things like that. And people would probably say, oh, it looks like players are slipping around this and that, but you'd take that over the ball being sticky and not being able to showcase football the way it should be played. So the first one would definitely be playing winter. The second one, I think, would be, if possible, is to probably find more boutique stadiums to play out of, as opposed to these bigger ones where you arguably get no atmosphere. I think Sydney are a testament to that, since they've had to go more regional grounds in Cogra and Leichhardt. So I think that's a big one for me. I think it brings football back to a little bit more back to the grassroots, and allows that atmosphere and the way that the game probably used to be back in the old NSL. I think that's kind of carried that a little bit over. I still I still wish to a certain extent that Old Breakers Stadium was still intact in the way it was, because I think I can't remember what capacity that would have been, but even I feel like a 7,000 to 9,000 crowd in there would be absolutely pumping. And I remember as a young kid when that went off, it was it would have been amazing to be on that field. So I think unfortunately, due to circumstances, we have to play out of the stadiums we do. But I think the key to like Adelaide's and places like that, they're little boutique, specifically built for football, and that's the way I think the league should eventually get to, and hopefully gets to one day. The third one would be a tough one. I think, I don't know, to be honest with you. I think the way the game's going at the moment, I think maybe a restructure of the way the salary cap works and the way that maybe handicaps the league moving forward. I know there's argument on the other side of the fence that the cap keeps competitive balance amongst the sides, but when you look at the sides lower down and what they spend compared to those at the top and what their budgets are, and everyone will say, yeah, but there's a cap, how do they do it? There's obviously marquee spots outside the cap. There's provisions for homegrown talent, for players that have been at their club for periods of time and all the like. So as much as I think the league and that attests to it having a bit of competitive balance, I think that's a little bit false. So I think something there, possibly something worked around that, maybe even get rid of it and allowing the other clubs to, if they want to spend, they spend. And I think there's room for that to grow and a discussion point. But I haven't got the answers to that. The only other one which I'd like to see, and I know you said 3, but I'll throw a 4th in there. Yeah. I think some stage down the line, obviously, a second division in this country is something that needs to happen. Promotion and relegation, I think it definitely needs to. Yep. When and how that looks, that's obviously a discussion for those people, the powers to be. But I think what's crucial at the moment is we make sure that the top tier competition is viable for the next 5, 10, 15 years before we thin things out and try and bring a second division in. And we want to make sure things are done properly and that they're viable, and it's not a get it off the ground and it doesn't, and it struggles after a year or two, because that's no good for the game in this country. So obviously baby steps. Obviously we need to work from the top down and make sure everything's right. And I think when we get to that point, I think a really strong second division will not only help the league at the top and make teams have to really vie for their position in the A League, but I think it's also going to give young up-and-coming players a better stepping stone maybe than they have at the moment, and a clear pathway to professional football. So, I know you said 3, but I threw an extra one.
Absolutely.
The more the merrier.
There's obviously we'll talk a little bit about the second division shortly. There's a couple of quick ones here that I'm going to fire through. Chad Ecott said, please don't go. Savannah and Caleb will be devastated if you left. Apparently there was talks of you going to India. How truthful is that?
Listen, it was. I'll be honest with you. There was stuff on the table, and obviously, when you come to my age and you're not sure of your options, and I'll be honest, there wasn't a great deal of movement here. There was obviously a lot going on at the back end of COVID and things like that. So I had to look around and see what I wanted to do. Ultimately, my first preference is pretty clear that I would love to finish my playing days out at this club, but sometimes they're not decisions that you ultimately get to take. But there was things thrown around, India, other things, other A League clubs. But listen, I'm a Newcastle boy through and through, and what this club's got at the moment in terms of the playing squad and the coaching staff and the direction the club wants to take potentially under new ownership, I want to be part of that, and I've made that very clear to the club and the coach as well. And I would be kicking myself if I left at a time when I think this club can be successful. And not only that, I don't want to just be I don't know what you call it, but just jump on the coattail of something because it's successful. I still believe that I've got a part to play in that. both on and off the park. So, yeah, I suppose I've got to be as honest with you as I can. But yeah, it's obviously
it's good, mate.
I think there's a lot of players around the league that did get approached, obviously with the uncertainty around the A League and the way the market around football in the world is at the moment. There's a lot of movement and a lot of players looking to have a bit more security. And as you've seen, there's already been a few players that have already signed to go over to India. And I suppose that's the biggest thing for us, is making sure that the A League retains the best talent we possibly can. And the younger players that have a bright future, that are Socceroo prospects, I think they're the ones that we've got to make sure that they're staying in this league and they're not going off to countries like that to apply their trade. I think obviously if you're heading to a different league and a different model, then maybe. But that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, no, look, as I said, mate, I think honestly, as Ben and I have said it in watching the back end of the season, I think any player in the A League, take the financial situation out and obviously what's happening with COVID, you'd be crazy if you didn't want to be somewhat a part of what's happening in the Jets right now. It's magic to watch. The staff that we've got, a Beanie signing is massive for us. I think he proves his worth obviously in the back end. He looks so sharp. He looked 10 times better than what he did when he was here previously. I think going overseas helped him massively.
He came back a completely different player than what we remember him.
Absolutely.
He was this skinny little winger that would fly up and down the pitch. Now he's this big lad, and all he wants to do is hold up the ball. It's amazing to watch.
He's powerful. He's powerful.
Absolutely. Benno, there's two in there from Matty Vandenberg.
I was about to say, this is real best.
Here we go.
Here we go. This could be interesting.
Get the tissues.
Let's be honest. He probably already knows the answer to his own question, so let him fire away. Go on.
The serial pest himself. Here we go.
All right. The first one is, whatever Nigel does, thank you for your leadership at the back. You've been a terrific servant for the club, and fuck the coast. When Nigel was at Adelaide, he was a part of the team that beat the Jets 7-0. Does he remember much about that day? If so, tell me more. Pretty sure he scored.
There was. Obviously, it was an enjoyable day for me because I don't score many. So, but unfortunately, it probably shows you the state of the Jets in that game, the fact that I did score. But listen, they obviously didn't have a great deal of it that year, and we were in some form in that game. I think everything that happened, we just scored. Honestly, it was one of those games where every time you went down, it ended up in the net some way or another. And obviously not nice for Jets fans to go through. But I think that was probably testament also to the way we had that Adelaide team. I suppose the mentality down there was to really put the foot to the throat if you were able to take a lead and you really felt the vulnerability of the other side, was to ram that home. And it was an enjoyable win for us, but obviously not great as a Jets fan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Welcome to Elliot. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. G'day, mate. What's he say here? Boutique stadium's the way to go. Maybe build something at the BHP, the old BHP. That'd be bloody oath. Why not? And on the water there, perfect. What else we got? There's a few in here.
No palm trees and cannons, eh?
Very true. This is one. Obviously, you're talking about the players and everything else. Now, we believe that you are still a part of the committee of the PFA.
Yeah, so still an exec member on the board there at PFA, yep. So
pretty much all I want to know, we're not going to go into too much detail because it's just so much. You can be here for 9 hours.
We don't do politics.
We stay well away from what ifs and maybes. We want truths and stuff like that. But all I want to know is, for virtually all the fans out there who may not know anything about the PFA, what is it about?
Yeah, so it's obviously the players' union, and they represent the players. Obviously, when it comes to negotiations or CBAs with the club owners or the league itself. But not only that, they're there for the players in terms of player development. There's so many branches of the PFA, and I could rattle off what they do and how they service the players. But but ultimately they're there to help and educate the players. There's education grants where players can tap into every year, a few $1,000s depending on if they want to study, if they want to go and work, if they want some job experience. It's really about trying to empower the players to prepare themselves for life after football, as well as now as well. And I think if you read into any kind of literature from big coaches around the world, it's the educated players that usually are the ones that are able to take on board what coaches have to say, systems, tactics, things like that. And the more educated you are, both on and off the field, I think leaves you in good stead. But there's so many services that the PFA provide. We have a player development officer who's at our club, Emily, and she checks in with all the players in terms of where they're at on a, I suppose, personal level, and they provide services, whether it's counselling, whether it's financial literacy, all those type of things that really provide the players with a platform to live their life and make sure they're doing the right thing with their well-being and also, I suppose, finances, to make sure that they're ready, because the transition out of football isn't an easy one, and I've got a lot of mates that have already stepped out of the game, and I can attest for that. And it's trying to prepare these boys for that, not to scare them, obviously, and to not take away from what they're trying to achieve as well. But the reality of it is, if you have a long and healthy career in the A League, you're still probably not going to earn enough money to sit back and retire on and not have to work a day in your life. And that's, I think, some people are confused in this country that obviously there's a salary cap. So that's essentially what money gets spread amongst the team. So if you divide a salary cap amongst the players, you can kind of work it out. So we're not earning what the EPL players are, but it's still a good lifestyle and a great way to play professional sport. But it's about maintaining that pathway for those boys. So yeah, like I said, obviously quite passionate about what the PFA does and what it provides for the players, because it's very important in making sure that the health and well-being of all the members are there. And I think healthy human beings provide better footballs on the park as well.
Yeah. No, as I said, it was definitely something that, I could see when the question came through. I'm like, oh, how do we get around this? Because we'd be here for hours. Because there's so much stuff there that I'd love to tap in on and talk to you about. Obviously, as a part of the committee and stuff like that. Majorly, obviously, again, even in the women's game. You know what I mean? We've had a couple of the girls on in recent months, and just gobsmacked and shocked in what those girls actually go through and what they get out of it. 4-month contracts. Like, I nearly fell off my chair. Who told us that? Bloody
Laurie.
Tara Andrews. No, Tara Andrews.
Tara Andrews.
Yeah. And credit to these girls, mate. Honestly, we've got a great relationship. The club as a whole over the last few years have made sure that it's been very inclusive, not only just the W League but also the youth team, and that when we're at functions, the players obviously they mix and mingle and understand the girls' point of view. And credit to some of those girls and what they're able to do. They obviously all have their own career paths. Some are studying, some are working, and then all of a sudden they've got to train, I suppose, almost full time, and then they're away. They may be not being able to work on a Friday or a Monday because they've got an away game. And mate, what they endure is tough. And hopefully over the coming years, we'll see, obviously, with the influx of what's going to happen around the Women's World Cup. I hope the women's game really takes off like it should, and I suppose the commercial viability of what they're providing both on and off the park is relevant, and hopefully that momentum continues. Obviously, COVID has probably has stunted that, and along with the rest of the game, but there was some great gains in the women's sport prior to this, and hopefully it continues, because let's be honest, when the Women's World Cup comes here, hopefully the W League's thriving. Every A League team's got a W League team, and maybe wear the curtain raiser for a W League game, and that's the way it is, because I think they'll sure enough they'll catch us and maybe even surpass us. That's my thought on it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. There.
I think it was Tara who was telling us as well that she carpools with like 3 other of the Jets girls to go down to Sydney every week for training and to play on the weekends.
Yeah, it's again. When she said 4-month contracts, it just blew me away. Just I somewhat get it somewhat because obviously the league isn't that long and everything else. But in my head as well, I feel that there's so much that these girls could be possibly doing to promote the game, promote the youth system, maybe going around to schools and all these sort of things. Doing
clinics, promoting the club, like going out into the community.
Yeah, and that's not a dig at any club either. That's just in general. I just feel that they should be doing a lot more, and hopefully, obviously, as you said, with the World Cup coming up, we may see a little bit more of that change, and hopefully we do. But what do we got here?
Yeah, Elliot's brought up a good one. I used to work with Claire Wheeler. After game day, she was dead on her feet at work. It was mental.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. He's also said there, who takes the credit for Johnny K's improvements as a defender, Boogs or Topper?
Depends who you ask. No, listen. Johnny's a great kid, and I say kid obviously because he's younger. But he's really matured this year in the way he's approached football and taken everything on board, especially with the coach and the way he wants to play. It's obviously a new position for him, a different way of approaching it, and he's taken it with both hands, and you can see the way he's performed at the back end of the year. So as much as Topper or myself might claim we've helped him out a bit, we're obviously a bit older and boss him around a little bit, but credit has to go to him because he's put the hard yards in. He listens, he asks questions, he's one of those ones that won't die wondering. He'll pick the brains out of situations and ask you where he can improve and how he can get better, and it's good to see him really doing well in that position. I think some people were probably a little bit harsh on him in terms of where he was playing recently and his performances, but I think Johnny is a great athlete, and he's showing he's quite comfortable on the ball and the way he wants to play football. So big things to come, I think, for Johnny. He's obviously very versatile. He can play there, he can play as a fullback, as a wing back, and I know in his youth team days he was a holding midfielder as well. So good kid, and he, along with a lot of those younger boys, it is honestly a pleasure to play with him, and people will say, he's got to say that, but it is. We've got a great bunch of boys, and especially those younger ones, there's no chip on their shoulder. They just want to learn, they want to get better. Obviously the environment that the gaffers created, along with the players that were already there, it's a great environment to be in, and you can see the way we've adapted to the way the gaffer wants to play, that players are just soaking up everything that's being thrown at them, and doing that willingly as well. There's no roadblocks, and if there's questions to be asked, they are, and it's a really good environment to be involved with at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, there's so many questions here, guys. We're not going to get through all of them. We don't want to keep him here for more than the hour. So hopefully we'll be able to get him on again soon enough.
I'll shorten the answers for you so we can get through it.
No, it's all right. No, it's good to have the long ones actually, because some of the times you get Blakes on and they just sort of, a couple of short answers. Then you sit there and you're like, shit, I've got
run out of questions.
What do we got here? But real quick one. Here's a quick one. I have to ask, what's it like to be jetting around Newcastle in an F-18 Hornet, as you did a couple of years ago?
Honestly, you said it then, and I'll go the hair stand up. It was honestly a bucket list moment that I don't know how many people have been able to go up there. I know all the engineers that work on the planes, they were just gobsmacked that we were given the opportunity to do it. So to be honest with you, I pestered our media manager for a good period after I think Scotty Miller went up. I made it well known to him that I wanted to go up, and every time we saw the liaison officer from the RAF around, I made sure I went and had a lengthy conversation to make sure that if a name was thrown out there, mine would be at the top of the pile, as well with Jem as well. But listen, that was something amazing to to get some insight into what those guys do, obviously being from Newcastle, the RAF base is there. You hear and see those planes fly over all the time, and to get an understanding of what goes on behind that big barbed wire fence is quite interesting. And we were able to go in and get an understanding of the level of teamwork and those type of things and how that relates to football, and really having to rely on your mate. I think that was the biggest thing, is in football you're only as strong as your weakest link, and at the end of the day we play a sport, and let's be honest, if worst case scenario is you lose a game, when you amplify it to their level, it's your mates relying on you to save your life, and if you make a big mistake, then it's quite costly, and that's the level of trust these guys had for each other, and the detail and the respect. It was a whole nother realm of thinking that I was privileged and still am to be involved with. But when it came to flying it, I just thought we were going to be passengers. We got up there, and I'm a big kid at heart, and I love all that. I've been on gliders and all those type of things when I was in Adelaide, and I love being in the sky. And he at one stage we were doing loops, we were doing all this thing, and he could see that I was getting a kick out of it. So he said, "All right, so the controls are yours." And I had a double take. I was like, "Am I hearing things? Am I a little bit dizzy from what he's been doing?" And he said, "Whatever you do, just don't invert us. So don't flip us over and don't pull. Otherwise, we'll head straight into the drink." And I went, "Well, I'll try and avoid that because it's not good for either of us. I don't know how many $1 million the plane's worth either." But he handed the controls to me. I did a couple of barrel rolls, and I was chuckling like a little kid. It was the best thing ever. And he said, "You're going to have fun with this, aren't you?" I said, "Well, what are we allowed to do?" So started cloud hopping, bopping around, and he went first, and I took over, and I was fine when he was doing it. And I think I got a little bit overzealous, and I was pulling too many G's and being a clown, let's be honest. And I made myself sick. I had to hand the controls back to him and pull my little pouch out of my top pocket, and he leveled out, and I had a little chuck and tucked it back into my sock, and away we went. But honestly, to be a Newcastle boy, to be able to do that, to fly over Newcastle, I think we flew down to Catherine Hill Bay, where I grew up surfing, and over Redhead, where I grew up, and all the way up to the bay, and have a perspective of Newcastle like that. It's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and something that obviously very privileged to do. And I still get a buzz obviously talking about it. So it's it was something I'm very honoured to have been able to do.
Ben, you got the next one there. You can probably lead on from that question.
Oh, I can, but I'm going to go with a different one. I'm going to go with Lukey in the chat because it's the second time he's asked it. Who's harder to understand, Laurie, Carl, or Kenny?
Depends what they're talking about, and depends.
How angry they are.
Yeah, exactly. I've obviously at the Mariners, I copped a few sprays from Laurie at half time when we weren't performing, and I tell you what, you're just ducking under your chair to make sure something doesn't get thrown by. Let's be honest, him or a Fergie that's coming over his shoulder back in the day. So. Laurie, I can understand Laurie quite well now. My wife still can't. I've known Laurie for 15 years, and she still just nods. It's the Gaffer's not too bad. He's pretty easy to understand. But Kenny's got this in kind of, I don't know, personality where he's very intense and he's very high energy, and sometimes he can talk way too fast for I think even the Gaffer to understand. So
he loves to talk.
He's very passionate, and he's a great guy and another great inclusion to the staff. He's great to have around the group, and him and Bays as well. Like honestly, they come into training every day, and they've got this energy that's infectious, and it spreads amongst the group, and it's enjoyable to have that type of environment. So. If you're new to it, it takes a bit, and you've actually got to slow down, look at their mouth, and really listen. Because if you drift for a second, you'll miss the conversation.
I was going to say, Ben and I have been lucky enough to obviously sit down and have a chat with all three of them, and I think obviously Kenny is probably the hardest. Although I'm probably not in his good books at the moment.
You sold him short 300 games.
Did knock him about 300 games short, apparently. So
he knows how many he's played to the number too. We asked him.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, I know. It was like I was being generous. It's like, about 600 odd games. He's like, oh yeah, and the other 300 odd. Oh, yeah, right.
Mate, some career. If you go back and look at his stat, it's unbelievable. So very honoured to have him around as well.
He's itching for a 10-game guest stint. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
He said he's still ready to put the boots on.
Yeah, he tells us every day at training. To be fair, some days he joins in with the shooting practice and he does all right still.
If you were to have any A-League player of your choice to join us at the Jets, who would it be and why? Some of the current players at the moment.
Oh, listen, I'll do the old cliche thing and say I wouldn't swap any of our players for anyone. I'll start with that. I'll get that out of the way.
Yeah, of course.
Listen, who would you add to our squad to be enjoyable? And
not even add them, mate. Not even add them. Just it's someone who's maybe just standing out. Someone you've just obviously been watching as well. Just going, jeez, he's playing all right.
Listen, I enjoy, and I know a lot of the boys in our team enjoy that kind of creative footballer and the way they get around the park. Someone like Ninkovic is obviously a treat to watch, and the way he makes the game. Some just slows down when he's got the ball, and it is a treat to watch and play against someone like him. Obviously, your Castros as well. They're great to have around. Obviously, the way they play the game. I think that's the way you want to see football played, and you want to see those creative type players, because they're the ones that do things that you can't even imagine are possible, and somehow they make it happen on a field. So I think the fan in all of us enjoy that style of footballer. So yeah, listen, I wouldn't replace any of our players. If you're going to add someone maybe to come off the bench, then one of those two would be quite handy.
Well, talking about creative players, I've got one name: Alessandro Diamanti.
He's done quite well since he's been here. He's quite a character, which is nice to see in the A League as well. Obviously,
his Instagram game's on point.
Yeah. He's a character, which is good. And listen, he runs around the field with a smile on his face and enjoys what he's doing, and I think that carries through to his team as well. But great competitor, and obviously we're lucky to have players like that out here in this league.
Absolutely. We're gonna slowly start wrapping it up. We'll talk a little bit about this season, about Berisha. Ben wants to ask one question. We'll get that one out of the road.
Hang on, let me find it.
Ben's been
itching this question for years. Where is it? I can't find it now.
It's down the bottom.
It's down the bottom.
Yeah.
Here we go. Since coming into the A League many years ago for Brisbane, Vezat Berisha has been one of the most potent strikers in the A League. The A League is everything. Can you tell us what your secret is about how you manage to keep him in your pocket every time you face him on the pitch?
Yeah, listen, I'll go back to the start. Obviously, we've had a running, I suppose, I don't know what you want to call it, but a long time ago in Adelaide, a situation happened, a scenario happened, which I believe shouldn't happen on a football field. I'm not going to go into too much details, but pretty much from that day on, I made sure that whenever I was on the park against Berisha, that I'd make his life hell. And I kind of wanted to make sure that, I suppose, at the end of my playing days against him, that I felt like I was on top and I won. Because there was could have been a different reaction to what played out, and me being a lot younger and probably a little bit more naive than I am these days, I could have reacted a different way, but I went about it a different approach. And listen, I think people still appreciate that style of football and being able to really go at each other, and I think there's still a level of respect there. I'd like to think so. Even after the last game, I went up to Bess and gave him a fist pump as we finished, and there was an acknowledgement there. But I think not only what I mentioned in terms of that scenario, but also we're both very passionate about winning, and we both want to take a backward step in moving forward. So I think that has given us that heated rivalry. And listen, I like to make sure that I come off the park and he hasn't scored against us, like I do most strikers. But there's that added level of intensity that he brings, and I'll be honest, it's enjoyable to stoke that out of him, because it sometimes does put him off his game slightly. So enjoyable to have that. Honestly, I've been around the league a long time, and to come up against that and get a bit of a kick again, it is nice.
Nigel Boogaard is definitely a name he's going to remember well past.
I don't think I'm on his Christmas card list, put it that way.
No, it's good. It's definitely a
not
date that we pencil in. Don't worry about that as Jets fans. Obviously, whenever
it's great to watch.
It's just good to watch again, but it's good. You know, what I mean, you see, it's just that passion and obviously friendliness out of it. I suppose at the same time. Again, it's football. It's like rugby league, you know, these days when they can't tackle and shit. It's just not rugby league.
I'd like to think that now that he's starting to get towards the end of his career, is that he may have mellowed. He seems to have mellowed a fair bit from when he first was around.
He loves a good dive. He still hasn't got that out of his
head. So does Jack Relish, but we're not going to go into that.
Dives for days. Bloody hell, kilometre away. I'll dive. Should be right.
But can he dive better than Luis Italiano? That's the question.
Louis doing well at the moment. I'm actually really pleased for Louis the way he took the reins, mate. To be honest, at the back end of the year with Mossy, and credit to him. He's been a number 2 for a long period, and he always does the hard yards. He does what's asked of him, and credit to him. He's been given the opportunity, and I think he's done quite well. I think he's probably surprised a lot of people with his ability with his feet as well, and the way the gaffer wants to play. He's doing well, but I still give him a bit of stick. I still keep him in check. He's obviously he's very close to us, and he might be the brunt of a few of my verbals. But
absolutely,
it's good to know that we have that relationship, and likewise with a lot of the players, that it's about driving each other. And sometimes we probably don't like to hear what we're being told sometimes, but we all take it the right way, and it's only for the benefit of the team. So it's he's Louis good value. He's now my roommate, or he was my roommate when Mossy didn't return. So I've gone from one goalkeeper to the next, and I'll tell you what, goalkeepers are a strange bunch. I used to have Eugene Galekovic in Adelaide, and all great guys, don't get me wrong, but when they say goalkeepers are strange, I will attest for that. No end. With enough said, we don't need to go into why.
Right. We're gonna just really slow it down. I'm just gonna quickly talk about obviously Carl and everyone else coming in, what the fans can hopefully expect for next season, whenever the hell that happens. If it happens at this point, the way things are going, no one knows. And obviously just a little bit about the back end, obviously, how good it was for us to watch, and I'm sure how good trainings and everything else must have been, and how much knowledge, not so much for yourself being one of the older guys, but obviously the younger guys like your Lucas, I'm going to butcher his name, Megarius?
You can probably pronounce it better than me. Yeah,
I'll run it with who hopefully we're going to have on next week. I was speaking to him the other day, and he's keen to jump on. So
Finally,
we won't go into that. But yeah, what's it like? What are these guys like? What can we expect for next season?
Obviously, another couple of levels on what we've already produced. The gaffer's made it quite clear that that was a starting point, and he's obviously impressed with the attitude and application of the way the players took on board what he wanted to do, and how he wanted to play football. And like I said, it's a very much a learning environment. He has a certain style of football which he's very detailed in the way his approaches to the game, and the style he wants to play, which is good. And he stripped it right back for everyone to understand, and obviously layer on layer we got to those performances like we did at the back of the end of the year. And if you ask any footballer, everyone wants to play with the ball at their feet. There's obviously one ball shared amongst 22 players, and the boys, obviously, the way the gaffer wants to play, it's a possession style of football, and it's been enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, as a centre back, you assume that most of the time you're not going to get as many touches as everyone else, but the way we play, it's enjoyable. It's a style of football I enjoy playing, and a lot of the players too. So it's not just possession-based football for the sake of it. There's reasons behind what we do, and the way we try and shift teams to exploit other areas. And there's always scenarios and things that are brought up at training, and boys asking questions. But it's very clear, and I think the way he wants to play. But there's a lot more that everyone can give. There's advancements on what we've already learned, and it's exciting. It's exciting to know that we all as individuals know we've got more to give. We've got a lot more to learn, and I think you touched on it, saying that maybe the younger boys learning a bit more. To be honest with you, our senior boys are are learning a hell of a lot as well. It's a different coach. It's a different structure for some boys, but it really is, especially for some of the older boys, an open discussion with the coaching staff as to what they want and how they want to play, and we can really question it. It's not questioning it in a negative term, but it's a question in a trying to understand it all as a team and making sure that we know each other's roles. And I think that's key to it as well as anything, is understanding your own role, but also knowing how all the moving parts work, and me understanding how the number 10 is supposed to move or a 9 moves. That's going to help my decision making and things like that. So there's so much to it. It is enjoyable, especially when you get to the back end of your career. It's a bit it's exciting to see what the club's done, and obviously credit to the coaching staff, what they've done in that short period. So to have a full pre-season with the team, implement the way they want to play, it's enjoyable playing that way, and I think all the boys would attest to that. But I think there's definitely a lot more to give, and it's exciting. It's exciting. I think, the way we play, it's expansive. Are we going to get caught out a few times? I think the gaffer openly admits that we're gonna make mistakes probably at the back trying to play out from our own penalty box, but he feels that those negatives are outweighed by the amount of positives from going the other way. So I think from everyone I've spoken to, it's an enjoyable style of football to watch, as long as obviously the outcomes there as well. You can play the best brand of football if you can't get the result. That's ultimately what we're in this game to do. So it's a balance of both, and making sure we can execute that. But like I said, it's enjoyable to play, good learning environment, great bunch of boys that are willing to learn and put their neck on the line for each other and the staff and the club. So it's exciting times. Like I mentioned earlier in our chat, that it's really boding well for next season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, as I said, it's just it's just from obviously for the start of the season, it was just so, I don't know, there was just so much. It wasn't even say negativity. It was just more what's going on, sloppiness. There's a bit of bad passing, possession, whatever. People not tracking back even, but just everything's changed. I mean, you bring these guys in and the team is just lifted under him. And again, when we had him on, just to hear what he's about, what he hopes to bring to the club in his 3 years, I believe it is, that he signed. Very strongful about the youth system. Definitely wants to give young blokes a go.
Even offered you a job.
Even offered me a job as a scout. I was impressed with that.
Can't complain with that.
It was just before, obviously, COVID really got serious, so we might take it back now. But at the same time, it's good to see, and obviously, again, who wouldn't want to be a part of next season? You know what I mean? So. We're gonna wrap it up there. Hopefully, speaking to yourself,
awards night.
Hopefully, might be able to get you on. Hopefully, we can get you on in a couple of weeks. Time. Hopefully, we'll speak to you in regards to that. And obviously, there's a few other questions there we want to ask, and we're thinking about maybe looking at doing some sort of like an awards night. It's not really much going on, so get the players player and captains. Most improved, etc. Stuff like that. So but honestly, mate, we do thank you, and as Vandenberg said, he summed it up well. We do thank you for everything that you've given to the club over the 5 years. Let's be honest, before that, Newcastle Jets was a bit of a shit show. As a fan, since day one, watching it unfold from the good times to the bad times to the forever 7th umpteen years in a row of not quite making it. It would have been very interesting to see what would have happened with you guys this season if we did scrape in, considering the teams that we beat in the run home to it. But that's football, isn't it? That's football. It is what it is. But thanks very much for jumping on again, mate.
No, too easy, guys. Thanks for having me. And I'll just put a few of you, I suppose, your listeners at ease. I think the biggest plan is to try and get the league back up and going by potentially January and run that through. So that's what we're hearing. Any more than that, I can't really testify, because if they change it, then I look like a bit of a clown. But I think having some insight, because you don't hear much out of anywhere. But we're hoping that come the turn of the year, we're back on the park and providing some good entertainment for everyone, and hopefully we can start the season off well.
Absolutely, mate. Hopefully you can get the pay sort of shit under control, because as I said, no one deserves that. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing, mate. You're an absolute legend, and obviously, again, on the PFA for what you're doing for all the players. It's you and Topper. Topper, I believe, is on there as well. So yeah, no, muchly appreciated, mate. Yeah, the chat's saying at the moment, thanks, mate. Hopefully you stay and everything else. But yeah, we'll speak to you soon, mate.
Too easy, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take it easy,
Cheers,
buddy.
mate.
There you go. That's simple, guys. We do apologise. I will get this straight out of the bat. I do apologise for not getting everyone's questions in. There was a few questions in there that, possibly didn't need to be answered right now. There's a few questions in there that we'd already answered that you guys might have missed.
We had 3 pages without chat.
Yeah. And at the end of the day as well, again, that was probably, let's be honest, one of the best interviews we've had. It's probably the best interview we've had from a player. Just for the simple fact that how in-depth he was talking about it, how in-depth and how passionate, I suppose, about... how passionate he is about the club, and not even the club, the league, and how much he wants the league to work and grow. Good. It's good to see, and as I said, it's blokes like that we want around the A League, let alone around the Jets and around the club. So again, I do apologise. I will get in touch with him shortly, and we'll try and tee up another night. As I said, I'm going to speak to Laurie about possibly doing some sort of awards scenario, because I don't know what they're doing on their end. Whether they do one themselves, but it is what it is. But as I said,
even still, we wouldn't be able to get there.
Well, we wouldn't be able to get there, and at the end of the day, not many other people will be able to get there. So, yeah, that's definitely something we're going to look at doing. But yeah, thanks to everyone who obviously jumped in. Elliot, I don't believe I've seen you in here before. If I have, I'm sorry.
Oh, he's been around before. I'm pretty sure he's been around before.
Yeah, I don't know. The name, I don't know. But yeah, thanks for jumping in, mate. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to go over and do that. Give the Facebook page a follow as well. It is muchly appreciated. For everyone else who's popped in with all the questions, cheers again. Ben, can you stay like that? You look funny. There we go.
Oh, it's because Nige disconnected from the Discord video, so it changes the orientation of everything.
Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, it was good to hear and good to get an understanding of where he's at. Let's be honest, you've heard it here first.
Met you guys in a few away games. Have you?
Elliot. My apologies.
Apparently, he's met us in a few away games.
Away games are definitely not the place for me to meet new people.
We've been to 3 pubs by the time we get to the stadium, so...
I'm not including half the carton I've got drunk before I even left the room.
Anyway.
So, yeah, my apologies, but welcome. Thanks, mate.
Welcome. I mean, it's us. We stick out like fucking sore thumbs.
Yeah, we do. I can't shut up, but I think let's quickly talk about it. We're going to wrap it up, but obviously let's quickly talk about it. We've heard it here first. Again, this is not a 100% answer. So this is something that we will not be putting up on Facebook or anything like that, as what other people do. But Nigel Boogaard, obviously, someone you could probably take the word of, considering he is one of the committee members on the PFA. They are looking at a January restart. Let's be honest. It's not going to be winter, like Boogs wants, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, right now, we need football, and then they can slowly work all that shit out at the end of the day. But we need football. We need some sort of idea of what things are happening. January makes sense considering a lot of the teams are due back the first week of October.
Yeah, it's very much in the way of what other leagues do it. It's good for us to go from the January because a lot of the other teams that we do play in the Asian Champions League run on a calendar year season. We're one of the only leagues that doesn't.
Yeah, the biggest problem for me is... Lockie, my apologies. I friggin' totally forgot.
What? Exclamation mark, specs.
What was I going to say? January is definitely one of those sort of months where it's... Sorry, there we go. I've got them.
Oh, did he message you and say you forgot to put your
I just totally forgot. I was dealing with child and totally forgot. I was going to say, I'll get to these in a minute. But
yeah, can I get an exclamation mark specs in the chat, please?
Absolutely. We'll do it quickly now. Be sure to go check out Gabriel Ma, optometrist Jesmond, for all your glasses needs. Sunglasses, prescription glasses, non-prescription glasses, your blue lights.
Eyeglasses.
Just reading glasses, basic shit glasses, just to enlarge font, whatever.
Not glasses you drink your beer out of.
Be sure to go. The boys at Gabriel Ma Optometrist are running a promotion for all Crossbar Capers subscribers on the YouTube side, so be sure to go check that out. It's very simple. There's a few different lenses there you can choose from. Normally $200, down to $99 at the moment for all the subscribers.
For you guys.
For all you guys there. Blue lights. They are essentially it's a coating that obviously takes off a lot of the brightness, a lot of the sharpness of what you see on your screens and
if you
everything
sit
else.
at a computer all day or watch a TV all day, they are the best things for your eyes.
Absolutely.
Even I'm getting a pair.
As I said, I don't have a prescription or anything like that. There's really nothing wrong with my eyes, but again, I've got them and it just makes things a little bit easier, a little bit sharper. So yeah, be sure to go check out Lockie. Ask for Lockie. That's the big one. Ask for Lockie. Ask for Lockie Ma, and he'll sort you out. Obviously, if you see his dad, you can't miss his dad. I'm sure he'll sort you out. But be sure to ask for Lockie, not one of the girls. If you see one of the girls, just ask for Lockie. He'll sort you out. But yeah, big shout out to those guys for obviously doing everything they do for the channel. Muchly appreciated. But yeah, there you go. Specs in the chat. Beautiful. But yeah, look, we
beef stroganoff tonight, Aiden.
Beef stroganoff. Beautiful. I just
had beef stroganoff tonight, Aiden.
I just had Macca's.
No, that was last night.
But yeah, look, as I said, January restart. I'm not even going to go into it about frigging if it's bad or good or whatever it is. It's football. I just want to be able to get back to away days, going to the football matches regardless at the moment, considering we're down here in Melbourne. I'll take anything. And let's be honest, it's just, I just want to see football back. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we need a winter comp, we need a summer comp, we need a second division, we need this, we need that.
I don't care when it is or what it is.
I just want football. I just want football back. I just want things to go back to normal.
I don't know if these guys realise or not, but it's not like we can run down to our local NPL game either, because even the NPL in Victoria got canned this year.
NPL, I can't even play. Like junior local football is.
Yeah, we're not even allowed to train. I think. What was it, 2 weeks ago, they loosened the restrictions, so if me and Josh want to do our hours worth of exercise, we're allowed to leave and go up to the local pitch, but we still have to stand 1.5 metres away from each other. Yeah, and we still have to wear a mask.
Well, yeah, technically. 30 teams, not 35, it's 30 teams. What are my thoughts on it? It's 30 current NPL teams who are going to do Zoom meetings and freaking emails and shit like that of how they feel that they can get a second division up and running, from strengthening freaking pitches to making sure they've got the right equipment to making sure that the lighting is essential, ticketing. If they do all the hard work without the FFA having to stand in, right? I mean, the FFA will have eyes on it. They will monitor the progress. All these 30 teams is the biggest thing. They're all in contact with each other, and they get the guidelines from the FFA as of the minimum spec. 5 new teams joined it. Right. Yep. Right, and they get the minimum spec. Then, if all 35 teams are gonna work with each other to get on par, that's only gonna make the second division come in quicker. Yeah. And the FFA will more than likely go with that approach. Look, for the simple fact that they don't have to sit there and do all the nuts and bolts of it all. The clubs are taking it upon themselves. The biggest thing is, and my apologies, CNA. I don't agree with some of the teams in it, though. Is that if there's now 35 teams, my apologies, because last I knew there was 30. I don't agree with some of the teams in it, though. At the end of the day, these 35 teams, it's nothing. All these teams are there to do is to sit down as a group and come up with how they a plan of how they feel that they can get this up and running. Now, this isn't to say they will get this up and running. I'll put it to you now. They will get this up and running, right? there will be a second division, but you will not see promotion relegation for at least 5 years. Guaranteed. End of story. For everyone in Newcastle, you know exactly what it's like. Friggin' when they put the NPL sides in, and then obviously none of the State League 1 teams or whatever could get promotion for years because they needed to see if it was actually going to work.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, I'm more than happy for an NSL style competition. I think it's great, and I think it's what should be happening. You pick the best NPL sides of obviously around Australia, and you set it up no different to what they did with the NSL. And there's
I think it should be at the moment for at least the inaugural season. It should be an even split of spots per federation.
Oh yeah, there's like 9 teams selected in the from Victoria or something like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, admittedly, we know as well. We've seen all the other NPLs around Australia.
I was going to say
Victoria's NPL is fucking huge.
Yeah, and there's not going to be 30 teams in the competition. Obviously, you're looking at maybe
but our NPL is fucking massive.
Yeah, of course. It's the biggest
compared to something like Western Australia's or Adelaide's.
Western Australia's pretty big, but
I'm talking in the amount of teams.
Yeah, WA is massive. You've got 2 NPLs, two NPL divisions. Not 3 like we do, but again, those 2 sides are the bigger. You know, it's not South Australia, or it's not friggin'.
But I think the distribution of the places in this second division should be divided equally amongst the federations.
Yeah.
Whoever drops out from there, drops out.
Edgeworth have stated that they want to be in the second division. There will be 5 to 10,000 teams that want to be in this competition, second division.
Yep.
Every team in the NPL in Newcastle, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide,
everyone will apply for
everyone will want to be in there. Like, you know what I mean? It's stupid. Edgeworth is the only current team out of the Newcastle NPL that I can see getting automatic qualification. There's nothing stopping them. They've got the grounds, they've got facilities, everything else. They've got financial backing, which is fantastic.
To be fair, so does Magic.
Not so much anymore. They've dropped off a lot. They haven't done any anything to that stadium in fucking God knows how long. But again, there's a lot to talk into it. And as I said, you could be sitting here talking about this shit for donkey's years. At the end of the day, there's 35 teams, and all their job is there's no. It's happening.
Their job is to draft a proposal to take to the FFA.
Exactly. All their job is virtually them to go
and then
to the
there's no guarantee that the FFA are going to accept it.
Here we go. This is what we've done the hard work. We've done the legwork. And that's all it is. That's exactly what it is. It's the FFA going, well, if you guys want a second division, you come to us with a plan. You come to us. Because at the moment, we can't. We're worrying about the freaking Women's World Cup. We're trying to get the A League sorted. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do this. You come to us with a freaking a pitch. And if the pitch is good, we'll look at it. If it's not, see you later. Come back when you've got another one. At the end of the day, it needs to happen. As Boog said, it needs to happen. But he can't see it happening for at least 5 years.
At the minimum, he said.
At the minimum, and he's in the PFA. So, as I said, he was talking relegation, promotion 5 years. But even then, I still can't see that happening in 5 years. Like,
no.
What do they say? What did they say? 2022. They're hoping, obviously, this second division is up and running. 2022, 3, 4. Yeah, look.
I'd put it back another year at least because of COVID.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's not called Magic Park anymore. No. It's called a shithole.
What is it now?
And it always has been a shithole.
What's it called now?
Yeah, they stayed longer.
I've always known it as Magic Park.
What?
I've always known it as Magic Park.
I just always call it a shithole.
Yeah.
It's a dive.
You don't like Magic, that's why.
No, I really don't. They're a bunch of flogs. But yeah, look, it is what it is. Again, hopefully Boogs stays on. That's the biggest one. Wanderers Oval, that's right. Yeah, they did too. That's it. Wanderers Oval.
Wanderers Oval?
Fuck it is. Yeah. Anyway.
Dumb name.
What a dumb club. We're not going in there. We're not going into it. Oh, damn, that's what I wanted to ask Boogs. Shit. Oh,
But no, he's going to play for KB.
No. I see every friggin' former A League player can get a friggin' contract in the Northern New South Wales NPL. If you had a choice of what team you would want to take over, who would you pick? His response: none of them. When Dudley Redhead come up, I'll take them on. That'd be his response. He goes, I'll go down to NPL 1. I'm a Dudley boy. He's a Dudley boy through and through.
Talking to Nigel Boogaard, 1 hour. Talking to Josh and Ben after. Quite a while. Watching Ben eat. Priceless. I'm trying to be quick with it.
You can't be quick at everything, guys.
I just like my pink koala plate.
That's cute, isn't it? That's cute. But yeah.
Oh, I got a green cockatoo one here too.
All right.
They're those bamboo ones.
But yeah, look, we're hoping to get Lucas on next week. I've spoken to him. We were going to have him on last week, but obviously he was away with Joey's commitments or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to him about that. But he said, yep, no dramas for next week. Don't ask me what day or anything like that. As of this point, we'll get there. Again, my plan is to obviously try and do some sort of event coming up shortly, probably in the coming weeks, before friggin' someone else takes the idea that I've just friggin' stated and then go, oh, that's a great idea, and steals that shit.
Why we don't say it on the podcast?
I'm not too worried. Not too worried at the moment. Friggin', there's not much going on the Newcastle Jets side of things at the moment. We're it. Obviously, Ferns must be flat out. Busy.
I've seen that Newey Jets news fanish. Saw that when I got home from work today.
Western United going to build 5,000.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good.
I saw the photo on Twitter. They've got they've painted 2 40-foot containers, one black, one green, and they've stacked them on top of each other, and there's a big picture of fucking Diamante on it. Saying it's like on the grounds where they're building the stadium. It's like this is the home of Western United.
Beautiful, cute.
Fucking looks good.
They said that about the Central Coast women's too, but friggin' where's that? No, nothing against Western United, but at the end of the day, baby steps.
You know what the worst part about it is?
Get yourself a team friggin' stadium first.
Depending on what way you drive to work, you can go and have a look at Diamante every day.
Oh, probably could.
You could. Drive home the back way, mate.
Take some eggs.
You'd be able to drive past Diamante twice a day.
Take some eggs.
Give him away. just give him away.
Give him away.
Or just take a photo every day of you. Record every time you drive past it, and then just send it to him on Instagram.
I'll jump out and get a photo. Big thumbs up. Wearing my jet shirt.
Yeah. I met Alessandro Diamante.
But yeah, no, Phil, good on them. Good on them. If they're going to build a youth system stadium, good on them.
Okay. It just shows that they're starting to prioritise the W League.
At the end of the day, let's just sort your own shit out before you freaking worry about the youth and shit like that. It's good that you're thinking of them, but if shit hits the fan with your stadium, that means that their shit's going to be on the back burner even more. So let's just freaking get your stuff sorted first.
Yeah, but I think it's more a fact
then,
I think they're building that first so they can play out of that quicker for the A League side and then move them to the bigger stadium. Because they know that the stadiums that they have played at don't work.
Oh, cute little... Oh, your sister fucking followed me on Twitch. I didn't even see that.
Man, she was in my channel last night. So was my mother, man. They were dropping bits. Like, fucking... I cleaned up like 600, 700 odd bits last night.
I don't even know how to drop bits, otherwise I'd drop them. It says that I've got to buy them. I'm not buying bits.
You do. That's what I mean. You do.
Yeah, I'm not buying bits. Fuck that. But yeah, look.
She was dropping bits. My mum was in there watching me fucking scream.
We're rambling. If you guys have got a quick topic, that you want to quickly discuss, if there's nothing, we will drop it and leave it as it is and move on until the next podcast. So yeah, feel free, whack something in there if you want to talk about it.
Lukey dropped bits too. Sorry, Luke.
Man, I'm just. That was a good podcast. Good interview.
I really enjoyed that.
I'm glad that he was very open to us, and obviously.
And he seemed relaxed.
Oh, really relaxed. Even freaking India deals. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've got freaking offers. I've got offers from.
Yeah, I was surprised he was so honest with it. because it never really came out in the media. I mean, it was speculation.
Yeah.
But that's the first time I've heard it actually, like, confirmed. Luke, no.
Haha. Luke, shut up. Seriously, or you can shove your bits, but they don't show 'em.
I wonder how much media coaching the lads get. Well, I think it was pretty obvious that
Heaps.
Nigel's had heaps.
And you played in the friggin' competition since friggin' 2005. Heaps.
It also comes down to the club too.
Heaps.
Like, of course, you're going to expect like the younger kids, like even Johnny Katrundis was a bit not like he was very careful about what words he used.
Yeah. Let's be honest though. I think. Yeah.
But again, he was on a leash.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, at the end of that, yeah, they're going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if Laurie friggin' sits down and friggin' does it himself. Right, lads?
Yeah. Well, I want you to go there, stand in front of the camera, and tell them exactly how the fuck it is.
yeah. Actually, yeah. Boo.
That'd be Laurie's media training.
I was going to say, yeah, okay. Laurie doesn't teach him media training because that doesn't happen.
The big one that got me was the question about Bez. I didn't know that seemed to hit raw.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't expecting that it was a personal thing.
I remember the incident. Oh yeah.
I don't remember it.
Oh, go back on YouTube and look it up. Yeah, it was when he was playing for Adelaide and he was playing in Brisbane. Yeah. It was chaotic. It was chaos. It was nearly friggin' full-on fisticuffs. Like friggin', it was crazy. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, go back and watch it. Yeah, it's a classic.
I don't remember it.
I was gonna bring up the whole friggin'. So it's good to when we're talking about it's good to see a bit of passion, and good to see a bit of shit like that. I was gonna bring up the whole.
Yeah, I think Bez might have opened his mouth a bit wide.
Yeah. I think I was gonna bring up the whole friggin' Taylor Regan friggin' Adelaide special, but
the knock on Mitch Austin? That one I'll never forget. That one popped up again the other day. We were commenting about it. Who was it? I think it was Riggs that shared it again.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, talk a bit. No, it was it was one of his mates on friggin' on Facebook, I think.
On Facebook, and then you jumped in, and then you tagged me, and I'm like, right, fucking, I'm jumping in now.
Yeah. And then literally,
and then he liked my comment.
Coincidence? 2 days later, he friggin' goes out and nearly breaks old mate's ankle in the Malaysian friggin'
Yes.
It was literally 2 days later. It was like, friggin' memorable moment from friggin' 5 years ago or some shit like that. And 2 days later, fucking this pops up or whatever it was, friggin' the Dudley special. Friggin' yeah, that was crazy. I wonder what he did. Go and have a look at it. Don't ask me what it was said.
I'll do a bit of research. I'll do a bit of research on it.
I can't exactly tell you what he said because I don't know what he said. But you can watch the footage of what actually happened. It was pretty full on. He opened his mouth. But again, it wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time. When he was at Adelaide and the tackle from Reeves on Austin. Again, they went at it again there. Yeah. Because Borussia come flying in going, oh, you prick. And then friggin' Boogs come straight over the top and go, hey, where you going? Leave me friggin' mate alone, you prick. But yeah, so. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. We're going to wrap it up. There's not much else to talk about at this point. Again, we do thank Nigel Boogaard for jumping on. It has been ages. Been trying to get him on for ages. And again, it's great to get those sort of blokes on to obviously talk about the league in general. They've been around the game for so long. Hopefully, Laurie, fingers crossed, sort the shit out.
Give the man a contract.
Give him a contract. He's got nice 2-year deal. 2-year deal will be perfect. A 2-year deal.
I'll cover part of his wage out of my pocket.
A 2-year wage would lock him in for his career. I mean, like no A League club's going to friggin' take him on after that. I don't think. Let's be honest, he has had a few.
Surely we can get. How long's the loyalty? Is it 10 years?
Oh, he's past that. Yeah, it'll be past that. He'll be able to get it for sure. But yeah, no, it was good to have him on. Hopefully, we'll have Lucas on next week. If we can't, we'll be here regardless. If we can't find anybody else. We do thank everyone for jumping in the chat, either on the Facebook side, which I haven't even freaking looked at recently. So
last I checked, it was only Vandy.
Very good. That's
and chat.
Very good. Well done to Vandy and Chad for jumping in. Muchly appreciated to those guys as well. Yeah, we're going to leave it there. As I said, be sure to go check out Gabriel Mar, optometrist at Jasmine there. All your eye care needs, whether it's for yourself. If anyone you know is looking for glasses or friggin' whatever, or you know they go to Specsavers or some shit like that, tell them to go down and friggin' see.
Exclamation mark specs in the chat.
Absolutely. One more time, exclamation mark specs.
One more time. And while that's happening in the chat, who pre-ordered their PS5 this week?
What's all of them go? Fucking stingy bastards, friggin' $200 for a friggin' stupid console.
No, I was smart and waited for the 2021 release. Regan and Boogs, Dudley's centre-back partnership in the future. Oh, could you imagine?
Could
you imagine?
They're a partnership in the friggin' juniors.
Yeah.
A partnership in the juniors. Friggin'. There it is.
Specs, Luke.
You've got the yes, mate. Actually, friggin', that's something I was speaking to him off air about, friggin' Reeves. When he chopped me all those years ago as a schoolboy. He's been doing it since freaking school.
Yeah, and his response would have probably been something along the lines of, well, next time don't go for my ball.
Yeah, you're all a bunch of greedy pricks, I believe is what he told me. That's... Yeah, do you remember that when we played your freaking Qatar High against freaking Hunter Sports High? He goes, oh, yeah, you guys were a bunch of pricks. I'm like, there you go. They were a little upset that we beat them on a few occasions. But anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, be sure to go check out Gabriel Mar, optometrist. It would be muchly appreciated. Jump onto that deal as well with the blue lights. Benno should have his pair soon enough once he goes and gets himself a freaking check-up from Specsavers.
Once I'm allowed to.
You can go down to Specsavers, they're open.
Yeah, it's finding time now.
All weekend, mate. Weekend, 9 to 5. 2 minutes. That's alright, actually. That's probably about.
Where is our Specsavers here?
At Woodgrove. Halfway down near friggin' warehouse, whatever the hell it is.
The old end, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Thanks to Lockie. Thank you to everyone else who's jumped in the chat. Thanks to Boogs. Yeah. Who's gonna enjoy your football over the weekend? Ben's excited like a kid, like a pig in a blanket. He friggin' won a game, so win.
Yeah.
He doubted them. He's doubted them as well. That's how. That's how bad it was. He friggin' doubted.
Then I didn't go for the PS5. No, I didn't get the digital. I got 2 disc ones. One for me, one for the missus. Josh, you went digital though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably deserved it. I probably did. I was an arsehole friggin' back in the schoolyard though. Mate, I had a punch on with 3 of my own teammates friggin' in school and schoolyard football. It was great. But anyway, it is what it is. Anyway, we're going to move on. Take it easy. Big shout out to Benno, obviously. Muchly appreciated again for jumping on.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Now that he is back at work, be sure to go and subscribe over on his side on the Corner Flag Games, Twitch, and the YouTube.
Exclamation mark CFG.
He'll be in there when he can. Now, obviously, with everything going on and the podcast working as well as it is.
Everything will be roughly the same. The only difference is that I can't do stuff during the day.
Yeah, maybe the times might drop a little bit instead of the midnights down to 10s. But
they'll drop to the 10s.
Be sure to go check out Benno if you haven't already. Most of you have. Cheers, lads. I've got a assignment due at midnight. Wish me luck. Oh, have fun with it. It's a weekend. Why is it due tomorrow?
Plug tomorrow night. When I make a fool of myself.
Yeah. Why is it due tomorrow night? Can't they just do that on a Friday or a Monday?
Proper uni.
Jesus Christ. Bunch of pricks.
Oh, you know why? Because today was the last day of term.
Yeah. Oh. No, not Newcastle it wasn't. Down here it was.
Yeah, down here it is.
What have we got? Liverpool versus Chelsea, another 3 points, Josh.
Nope.
Aiden, I don't talk about it through the year. Trust me. I am one of the Liverpool fans who don't sit there and say it's our year. Trust me. It's not me.
He's learnt not to do that.
I've never,
From all the years previous that he did.
Ever, especially since Gerrard slipped, ever said that.
It's the old adage, don't get your chickens before they hatch.
Ever, mate, seriously, friggin' tonight midnight. Oh, tonight midnight. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so Friday.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, no. Look, at the end of the day, friggin', we're gonna have a good run. It'll be another good season for us, regardless. Looks like we've just wrapped up friggin' another new signing, which is fantastic.
Yes, Thiago.
It'll make cover, big cover, which might see Wijnaldum leaving.
See, that's a shame. I
hope he does leave. I think he.
I don't mind Wijnaldum.
No, I don't mind him either, and he's been a great servant. He does a great job, but I think he needs to be at a club where he can play full time. He's captain worthy of any club he goes at. Yeah, I mean, he needs to go to a club. He's the Dutch captain.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to be at a top tier club or whatever it is where he is the top
As
tier player.
as long as he doesn't go domestic.
Oh, no.
As long as he goes somewhere else.
Absolutely. Yeah,
like, nowhere in the Prem.
No. He might get back to Holland.
19th of September. We play tomorrow. Away. Oh, shit.
Well, good luck, Elliot. Anyway, mate, muchly appreciated. Enjoy. Hopefully you do well.
Fucking Swansea.
Get that study. That's a loss there. I won't tip yous against them.
Swansea away.
Yeah, I'll tip Swansea in that one.
Swansea away.
Yeah. But yeah, no, as I said, I'm not going to go into it too much, mate. Hopefully we do beat Chelsea. It's going to be a tight game. Chelsea are going to look good. They're going to do a lot better than what they did last year. Especially now that they're friggin' able to spend money. Their side on paper. Look out.
Games are fun on paper.
Look out. Oh, no, but the way they played, we'll take that away. The way they played the other day, yeah, they're playing good. They're going to play some good football this year. Good football. But anyway, again, this is why you guys talk shit and then you friggin' make us sit here and we ramble on. Scores against Liverpool in the Champions League. Scores? Who scores? What champion? I'm confused. Why do you do that to me? Anyway, other than that, while you're telling me what the hell that means, I'm a little bit confused. Be sure, everyone's been talking about it. Luke's been hyping it up. Aiden was hyping it up a little bit before, obviously, in the whole biddy scenario and shit like that. Everybody who hasn't seen Benno suck a bit of friggin' honey and friggin' get his Larynx. Whatever. Finally tuned and groomed. Be sure to jump over tomorrow. It is part of the community takeover, on the Goa channel for I believe it's going to be on the friggin' Rossi's channel, is it?
No.
Hosted
by Straight Jacket Jim.
Oh, Straight Jacket Jim. There we go. Sorry. Rossi was doing it before. I forgot that he was doing this one.
Yeah, Rossi does it on the community.
Anyway, it's on the Goa side.
Come watch me, mate. Yeah, it's on Goa.
Be sure on the YouTube side, Twitch side, jump onto the Goa Twitch channel, and you'll see Benno tomorrow at
7:30.
7:30 p.m. He'll be part of
Twitch.tv/Game on Oz.
Absolutely. If you want to hear the beautiful serenading voice of Benno in his what do you call it? Bloody musical theatre training for everyone out there. So don't think it's just a beautiful voice. It's well trained.
I wasn't born with this gift. I had to work for it.
It was well trained.
Which
I've seen on a few occasions professionally. It's well worth going to have a watch. If you haven't listened to it, even go over and have a listen to Twitch Sings in general. It's a good little thing, and it's only available till, I believe, the start of the next year. So
yeah, it disappears on the 30th of December. They're canning it.
There you go. So
after 2.5 years.
Yeah. Sells Genie to Barcelona, ends up into
scoring against Liverpool in the Champions League.
He won't play for Barcelona in the Champions League.
No way.
If he goes to Barcelona, which is a possibility because we're looking at
he won't go to Barcelona. They still owe you money for Coutinho.
Yeah. Well, we're looking at friggin' taking Dembele off their hands. Apparently, bit more cover. So that may knock $30 million off the friggin' $90 million that we're still owed. So
Still fucking straight swap.
But at the same time, friggin', there will be something in place there. Klopp's done it with so many of our players, that friggin' he'll send the players away, but they are strictly not allowed to play against us. It's 90% of teams do it. 90% of teams, if they're going to sell a player, that's their only friggin' bargaining thing. If you're playing in the same league, you will not be playing against us.
No, in league, I think he's fine, but like European competition is generally when they go nah.
Put it this way, Luke. If he doesn't go to Barcelona, I've been very intrigued to think of what happened at the Dutch national side, because they should have been freaking winning a lot more shit than what they have in the last 5 years under Koeman, and that would be obviously a main reason why he would go there, considering he's a national team coach and the captain. But I'll be very intrigued to see if he actually gets there. That's the big thing. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Whatever. We've had our fun with him. He's done his job for us, and he can wander on his way.
I wouldn't exactly say you've had your fun with him. He's served Liverpool very well.
Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we've got the best out of him. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he came in and he was solid. He scored great goals for us.
Where did he come from?
It was no different to Lovren and so forth.
Where did you sign him from?
Ajax, I think. Was he at Ajax? Or PSV?
Everton will be up there this year. Shush.
Everton will be up there this year. It pains me to say. I'm all for it. All for it. As I said, it's no different to the Newcastle Jets and the Central Coast Mariners. You don't want them seeing dwindling down the shit heap. You want a tight affair. It's going to be a great game. Mate, great game. And what's his what's his name? Friggin' name. I can't remember.
Aguero.
No, the bloke who's coaching there now. Friggin'. I can't remember his name. Ancelotti. Friggin'. He's done great things since he's come into there. And lucky enough, he's probably a lot of other previous coaches are sitting there kicking themselves. Friggin' and going to start asking questions of why friggin' he's been able to get so much money out of the club to spend, and friggin' the others couldn't when they needed it. So,
because they weren't quality enough managers, if I'm brutally honest.
The players that he's brought in are top draw. James is, yeah.
Oh, James Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, no, he looks so good.
Yeah, but you look at their managers. That's right. You got him from the Toon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but he's PSV. He was on loan at Newcastle. He was part of PSV. Yeah.
But to be brutally honest, like, I mean, you look at Everton's managers prior to Ancelotti. Everton were waiting for a proper manager to come around.
Oh, absolutely. It's why
Marco Silva was stopgap.
It's why friggin' Arsene Wenger friggin' stayed at Arsenal for so long. Because friggin' they had to wait for the right manager. They had to wait for somebody.
And they're still fucking waiting.
Well, they still technically are. But again,
sorry.
Sorry about that. Friggin' I agree.
Sorry, you made it.
But at the same time, they friggin' they weren't going to let him go for anything less than what they.
Oh no, they weren't. They're never going to.
You know what I mean? They weren't going to bring in a dud or somebody who may have friggin' played or
they weren't. They weren't going to take that risk.
No, of course not. That's why he stuck around. Why they kept him for so long, and Wenger was probably sitting there worried himself, confused himself, going, "Shit,
what am I still doing here?"
I'm surprised I wasn't out the door friggin' ages ago. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is. We're going to leave it there. We do thank you guys for jumping on once again. Be sure to go check out Benno tomorrow on the Goa channel on Twitch, 7:30 p.m. Be sure to go subscribe to the YouTube side. Go and follow the Facebook. Go follow my Twitch side. Not that it's necessary or not like that. You can find us on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes. iTunes? Is it iTunes?
Yeah,
it Apple Podcast. I don't think it's iTunes. I think it's Apple Podcast. But yeah, possibly Google next year when they pull their finger out.
Yeah, there's fucking slack.
Yeah, we'll have to send them 5 more messages before we get a simple reply. But yeah, there's the links there. Obviously, thank you, Stream Elements. Good on them. Doing all the work. Hey, Stream Elements is the program. He's doing a good job.
Who do you think tells the program what to say?
Mate, no one told the Nightbot.
I tell the program what to
Mate,
say.
I'm telling you now. I'm not Nightbot. The Nightbot's got an issue with Lockie Marr because I didn't see Lockie Marr.
Oh yeah,
didn't
it
see.
doesn't like Lockie using capitals in chat.
Did not see Lockie freaking like when it come up and it said Lockie Marr or whatever, warning for caps or whatever. I couldn't even see a freaking message from Lockie.
No. You know why? Because I work this out as well. When I do the chill streams, Bree mods the YouTube side for me. If something is held for review on the YouTube side, like because of swearing or spamming or capitals or whatever, it doesn't come through the restream chat.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah,
I may have said something had it been held for review or Nightbot declined it.
Yeah.
And then we get the Nightbot message because it's automated.
Got time out last week. There you go.
Luke got time out last week. I would laugh at that. I have to go in and tell Nightbot to not be so harsh.
Very, very good. Other than that, I probably will be streaming as well tomorrow night. Not so much important, so don't feel free to jump over and see me. Go check out Benno, and then while Benno's having a break, come over and see me, I suppose. Yeah. Although I'll probably start with.
I'm assuming. Well, there's 4 other vocalists, so I'm assuming we're doing the Twitch sings party thing. So everyone's going to sing one, and it's just going to go down the list.
Ah, beautiful. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I'll sing, then somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else, and then we'll just roll around.
There you go. So do what Luke and Aiden and everyone else does, and freaking grab 2 monitors and whack us both on at the same time. It's the best way to go about it.
That's what I'm doing right now.
What? I'm better.
I've already edited the podcast, and it's already being uploaded to Anchor right now.
Can I get a round of applause in the chat? Look at that. He's all over.
You've got it on your stream deck.
I just did it. You won't be able to hear it. I already did it.
No, I can't hear it there.
Anyway, guys.
I'll do my own.
I can't hear shit, but
There we go.
Anyway, heard himself. No, I will get time out again. Nah, too easy, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Be sure, once this is uploaded, go and share the shit out of it. Friggin' send it wherever it needs to go, so everyone who has missed it can go and watch it.
Send a Spotify fucking link to all the Jets bloody fucking
pages.
Groups.
Yeah, absolutely. Get it out there. Friggin' follow the Spotify page, follow the Facebook, follow the Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube. Do what you have to. We do appreciate everything you guys do by coming in and having a chat. It is muchly appreciated. And at the end of the day, hopefully when we get football back, we'll be able to do more away days and freaking catch up with everyone for a beer and freaking do some pre-games and obviously game day vlogs. If you haven't seen a few of them, go check out Ben's channel. You'll have to scroll fucking a mile down the friggin' bottom or whatever it is because he does so many videos. But you'll find a few in there. There's a few in there.
You're in a playlist.
Don't go to the Lads Entertainment Network and find the one in there because it's freaking not worth watching.
That?
That's one where we done in Adelaide.
What's a Lads Entertainment Network?
Yeah, exactly right. Soon to be massive, hopefully. Soon to be better than what it is.
One channel at a time, mate. One channel at a time.
No, it's not going to be a channel. It's not going to be a channel. But anyway, guys, muchly appreciated. We're going to leave it there. We will sign off as we always sign off with, as always, we hate Coast Scum. Absolutely. Hashtags in the friggin' chat. We hate Coast Scum. We will catch you guys around, if not tomorrow, at some point next week. Take it easy, stay safe, and we will see you guys very soon.
Oh, Jeff was on a lurk.
What?
Jeff, he just goes waves, hooroo.
Oh, Jeff, mate, how are you?
He was on a lurk.
He was on a bit of a lurk. Go back if you missed it, mate. Watch it back. It was a great interview, mate. Boog's done a top job. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later. Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.